Okay, welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting of February 1st. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, adoption of minutes.
Okay. I thought I had not read these minutes, but I have indeed, so I'm good. Where am I? There we go. I move to approve the regular session meeting minutes of December 14, 2015, and the executive session meeting minutes of December 14, 2015, as written, not to be released.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Citizens' statements and petitions. Anyone have anything? No? Okay. Correspondence to the board. And now it's Mendon's oldest citizen. I think I might have that here.
Isn't there a...
Yeah, I think I have it. And we have a letter from the Council on Aging. Thank you for acknowledging the following announcement. The best wishes, Charles Salvia, Mendon's oldest resident. The Mendon Council on Aging is honored and privileged to recognize longtime resident Mr. Charles Salvia of Myrtle Street as Mendon's oldest resident. The Mendon Senior Center staff recently presented its senior cane to Charles in his home, which he built in 1959. In the company of his wife, Helen Audie Salvia. The Salvias have been married for 63 years. Charles graciously accepted the cane and the distinction, choosing to do so within simple fashion without too much fanfare. The cane bestowed to Mendon seniors is actually a gift from the Friends of the Mendon Elders used to keep a tradition alive. In 1909, the Boston Post distributed hundreds of canes in Massachusetts cities and towns to the oldest citizens as a PR move. Only a handful of original canes are still in existence. Many towns, such as Mendon, have adopted a substitute for presentation purposes. The Council on Aging is pleased to honor this tradition, which pays recognition to some amazing individuals, such as Charles Salvia. Please join us in offering best wishes to Mr. and Mrs. Salvia.
That was a very lovely summary of Mr. Salvi, and it tells us all about him, except for one little thing. How old the man is. And he is 98 going on 99, right?
That's correct.
That's great. You're probably going on something when you're a little kid, though, aren't you? 5 going on 6, right?
I think that's awesome.
It is awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Up until last year, he did all his own yard work, maintenance.
That's what keeps him going.
Yeah, it's time to take a break.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. It's funny, I had the same question.
Well, I sent the email back to
Did-
Ms.
Yeah, and I
Wilson.
called Amy today, too. That's all right. Okay, consider appointing Janet Hubner.
Okay, I
outreach
move to
worker.
appoint Janet Hubner as COA outreach worker for approximately 8 hours per week at the current hourly rate of $16, effective immediately.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I know Mrs. Hubner. I've known her for quite some time. I think she'd probably be very, very good at that. My understanding is she's been volunteering up till now, right? So she's got a track record.
She took the training for smart fuel assistance this fall, which is how we got to know her, and so she's been working one-on-one with Beverly Hart. She's helping to do fuel assistance applications, and yeah, we think that she'll be a very good fit.
Yeah, her husband works with me at Dimension Data, so I've known her for quite a while.
Great.
Very good. Okay. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Janet, welcome aboard and look forward to working with you. Discuss Irons Way street name request. Okay, I believe we have some, do we have, let's start with Kim first. Do you have information on what this is about?
It's in your packets.
So I don't see a motion for this, so are we to just take something under advisement tonight, or?
Discuss.
Yeah.
Okay, well, when does discussion end?
When you've decided. When you've decided
Okay.
what it is you'd like to do.
Kim, can you give us some history on this, please?
Sure. So I'm sure you all know more than I do. We have a request from, I believe it's the wife, in order to name the street after the previous highway superintendent?
It's the daughter.
The daughter.
It's me.
Oh, see, there you go.
It's a good thing, too, because I find my wife doesn't like to be referred to as the wife.
Well, I guess that's good.
Daughter.
The daughter.
It's actually for the contribution that the Irons family has.
Look, I've read the what came in the email and stuff. Could we just invite her up to
Yeah,
talk
come on
through
up.
Sure.
what their justification is? I'd like to hear it, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
If you don't mind.
basically, what I did,
You can
Make
take a
yourself
seat.
comfortable and
Yeah.
just talk
Okay.
into the microphone.
I've been to the planning board with the request to
Go check on that.
make
Thank you.
what is currently a private road a public road. And so I've been through that process, and there were certain requirements that I had to fulfill, which are almost complete. Right now, I'm waiting for the utilities to complete the relocation of the telephone pole. So I have a new pole in, and they have to move the wires from the old one to the new one and remove the old pole. And then all the items that they wanted me to do are done. And so they suggested that this was the time to approach the board and let you know that I was interested in possibly naming the road Irons Way, because it's my understanding that you decide what you want a new public road to be. And I'm suggesting this based on the fact that my father, Francis, behind me, has contributed quite a bit of time, as well as my grandmother, Helen, my grandfather, William, my uncle, Bud, and my great-grandfather. And that's what I pretty much outlined in this document, where Francis behind me had been a superintendent, director of civil defense on the fire department for 30 years, park commissioner for 10, clerk of the works for the new highway barn and the senior center addition. My grandmother, Helen, had been the first town accountant. She was also the director of public welfare, the clerk to the selectmen and assessor, and the clerk at the Mendon Airport. Her husband, William, was on the fire department for 27 years and retired as chief in 1961. He was also the forest warden. My Uncle Bud, or great-uncle Bud, was also a scoutmaster and Eagle Scout and a communications officer for the civil defense. And my great-great-grandfather was on the Mendon Road as a superintendent in the early 1900s. And so that's basically my proposal for why I'm suggesting Irons Way.
I presume you must be related to Tommy Irons, right?
Yes, that's my dad's cousin.
Okay. Okay. So I'm not sure of the proper procedure here. I don't know if is it just a vote of the Board of Selectmen? I don't recall, since I've been selectman, having to decide on the name of a road.
Yeah, we have, we've named Kim's Way off of Misco Road.
Excellent choice. Nothing.
So, yeah, it is under our purview to.
Oh, I understand
name
that
road.
it is, but I didn't know what process or procedure there was. Is it a simple vote, or?
Ellen says yes.
Diane, go ahead.
Is the road accepted as a public road, or is it still private?
It's still private.
So wouldn't the town have to
Except
Except as
accept
a
the road
public
at
road.
a town meeting before? I'm not sure what the
Thank you
steps-
for asking that,
the
because that was
steps
my
are.
That was my concern, too,
Yeah.
yeah.
But how would they know what they were accepting? Wouldn't you propose a name and put that on the warrant?
we must have done this before, Alan.
Okay, hence why we're discussing and not
Yeah.
deciding.
Right. I mean, you've got lots of developments in the town. How do those streets get a name?
Yeah, they, in case in point, when we get a new subdivision in,
Yeah.
the name of the road sign that's up before it goes to town meeting, so they know what it is.
Mhm.
So naming the road, you can name it tonight, not a problem.
But
Because
those,
they have to purchase a sign and put it, they gotta
right,
put a
but those
sign on
would
it.
be public streets, right, before, you mean before they've been accepted at town meeting? Even as the development's being designed?
Well, this is all done,
This is a private road right now.
right.
I
But there's
think-
no name.
Before Vincent.
There's no name on it.
right
No.
now.
No, it's
So it
a,
needs to be named.
yeah, it's a single lot subdivision, and it's been like that for 20 years.
So currently, it's just two houses at the end of, it's like a driveway, but it's a wider
Yes,
driveway.
right.
And there's your house.
Road, it's got proper drainage, yes.
Why are we trying to make this as a public road?
That was my next question.
Because of the liability, I'm trying to sell my home, and I've been unable to. I'm the sole person who's responsible to maintain the road, even though two abutters have the right-of-way to pass. And one abutter is running a business over it, and that is turning people away from buying my home. So that's why I
I'm in
went
a
to the
similar
planning board.
situation.
Well, that's why I went to the planning board and asked them for their advice and their help. And I've been with, I have my own legal counsel, so this is the approach I'm taking.
So it would be true then that to solve your issue, the street could actually be named anything, but since it has to have a name,
It
you'd
has to
like
have
to.
a name.
you'd like to-
That's all I'm doing is proposing a name to the selectmen.
I got you.
And this is the reason I'm proposing this
Yeah.
name.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of, still a little bit confused, so I apologize. It's classified as a private way right now?
Yes,
So as a private way, what is the name of the road?
there is no name.
There's no name on the private way?
No, it's just called White Pines Estates.
White
It's a
Pines
div-
Estates?
It's a single lot subdivision that was created in 1990.
Okay. So if it was rejected because it's a single lot subdivision as a as a public road, would there be any issues of still calling it Irons Way?
I don't think so.
Yeah, like if it's a private way, what would prevent you from putting up a sign there, calling it
Yeah,
Irons
I
Way
mean-
right now?
Right.
I don't think there's anything preventing it, but I really don't know.
Hmm.
I was taking the advice of the boards, and
Yeah, no,
why I'm
I mean,
here, is based on the planning board's suggestion.
So this is you're anticipating on asking for this to be accepted, and so you
Yes.
wanted to have it named by the board ahead of time so that was set up.
Well, it was the planning board that suggested I see you now. I thought I had to wait until the utility work was finished, and then Alan or someone appointed by the planning board inspected it to make sure I did everything I was supposed to. And then it was supposed to, I was supposed to come to you and ask you to put it on the warrant to make it public. That is my understanding.
Perfect.
And that sounds right to me.
Me too. The town meeting piece is a big piece of it.
that's right. Yeah, and that's what the reason why I was posing the questions that, the way that I was, is that because town meeting plays such a significant role in this, that if we were to name the single lot subdivision as Irons Way, and it was to be rejected in town meeting as a public road, that you could still call it Irons Way as the private
Way.
road, but then I would be wondering what the deed, what your deed says, because now you would be living on a private road.
I'm already living on a private road.
Yeah, so,
My-
but what's that called, Providence
it's-
Road?
It's 91A Providence
Nine
Street.
and Way, Providence Road, so now does that change anything legally, now that you're calling it Irons Way, because now you have two houses that technically would have frontage on Irons Way and no longer frontage on Providence
Correct.
Road.
Correct.
So, so I'm not sure all of the legalities of that. So
well,
I would probably be, if, I'm trying to help you. I think I would err a little caution and just make sure that all that was covered prior to, because then that could open up another mess for you, that now you have a house on Irons Way that is deeded out to Providence Road.
Well, I thought that once it went on the warrant and the community said it was okay, that I would go to legal and have the documents changed
I see.
So that basically I'm turning a half an acre over to the town, for the town to do the maintenance. So it would no longer be the burden of the homeowner. I mean, I thought that's how it goes with all subdivisions, that the owner or the builder of the subdivision maintains their road until it gets turned over to the town, and the town takes responsibility for maintaining it.
What did you say the current address was?
91A Providence Street.
Is that how it works, Alan?
What's that?
With there's a lot of private roads in town.
You live on one.
I do. So that's why I'm asking, so I'm a little bit,
Is there a covenant on your road that makes you responsible to take care of it?
I don't have a covenant, but it's just that I end up taking care of it.
Yeah.
There's another abutter on, there's two abutters on it.
And you're the only one that is responsible to take care of it?
There's nothing that dictates that I'm responsible for it, I just do
And see,
it.
I am. The
Yeah.
town of Mendon put a covenant on me and requires me to plow it and maintain it. And yet there are other people using it.
Now, why did the town do that at the time? Was it just one of the deals to
It's
get
what
it built?
the planning board did. It was a brand-new subdivision.
I see, okay.
Can I recommend something?
Sure.
So obviously there are two things at issue, right? There's how it gets accepted as a public way, right? That clearly is an action between the planning board and town voters at a town meeting, right? The name of the road, accepted road, is up to us, right? So I think what I'd like to do is make a motion that says, I move to name the private way at 91A Providence Road to Irons Way in the event that the town accepts it as a public way.
I'll second that, yep.
Discussion? None?
Are we putting it on for March, or are we putting it on for May?
We're not putting the naming on for any
Right,
time.
no, I know.
I don't know the answer to that because I don't know what the timings are and when you'll have all the stuff done that she's got.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on the utility company.
Sounds
It's
like May.
been over a year at this point that I've been in this process with the planning board.
So we'll
But
let
I'm
her
getting
prepare
very
it and
close
stick-
to
direct that.
completion. Like I said, National Grid and Verizon is just has to come up there and move the wires, take out the old pole, and then have Alan inspect it.
Okay.
Sure. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There you go.
Okay, consider approving Chapter 90 reimbursement and amendment requests for Bates and Bellingham Street.
I think it's also, sorry, not to back up, but
Go ahead.
I think it's also worth saying that, naturally, we, as the Board of Selectmen, appreciate the service that your family's given to the town based upon what you've outlined here. So thank you very much to you and your family for all that. Yeah.
And I just want to follow up one more thing, too. If by any chance all of this comes together by next Thursday, I know the odds, please let us know, and then we'll work to put an article on for March. But if not, then we can plan for May. But the deadline for the warrant is next Thursday. No problem.
All right, sorry, Mark.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so the next one. All right, I move to approve the Chapter 90 reimbursement request for $40,880 and no cents for the installation of a 12-inch drainage pipe and this should be catch basin, right? Catch basin, not basing,
Yeah.
catch basin, okay?
Plural.
Catch basins, all right? Manhole system and the Chapter 90 amendment request to install a drainage system. Both are for Bates and Bellingham Streets to Route 140.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Oh,
I do
go
have a
ahead.
question. Is this something we've discussed and considered already that's changed? Is this a modification or is this a new thing?
It's just because of a cost overrun.
Okay, I understand,
All it
okay.
is, You already okayed the project, but you used to be able to go over 10%, and they would just reimburse you.
Okay,
But now they need to have an amended project request to reflect the overage, which that's what you have right there.
This is the overage, 40,000?
No.
Okay.
I believe it's all right there. It tells you the original amount
40,190, no, that's correct,
But it
so
also tells you the original
40,880.
amount that it's amended from.
Okay, so that's right, that's this right here, right?
40,880.
Should be like 31 or 2,000, like 8,000.
Help me out here, Ken.
Okay, so I'm confused, Alan. Are you saying that the 40,880 is the new total?
It's total,
The new total?
the new total.
The
And
original
what-
total was something less than that?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
And what was it, and you don't know what the overage was?
It's just not clear on here.
Amendment to the original.
This is all I have, Alan, that's why I was asking.
Okay, no problem.
No, you should have another sheet.
Yeah, you,
Oh, I'm sorry,
You have this right here?
it's in a different sleeve. Sorry.
You know, I don't have that number with me right now.
Well, just,
It
it doesn't have to be
was like-
exact. What,
It was like 32,000.
okay, so it's an increase of about $8,000 roughly,
Right.
something around there.
Okay.
Okay, that's close enough. Okay.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then I gave you a breakdown of what the money's been spent the last 2 years.
That's
Sales,
what I was looking at.
sales 101, when you've made the sale, stop selling.
Oh, he's not selling, he's just telling,
I was trying to be nice.
just provide.
I'm just
I'll
having,
stop.
I'm just having fun with
thank you, Alan, I'm looking at this and I appreciate the detail. So I like my ice cream cold, so,
Yeah.
so, yeah, I mean,
I'll let you know exactly what that is. I'll email you tomorrow.
okay. So as I look down through the balance with everything that we've done so far, Alan, we're looking at a balance of about $178,512, correct?
Then just keep in mind, we're gonna be paving Bates Street
Okay,
next year, this year, this spring.
okay,
When that job was figured, it was 2 years ago. So there's gonna be another one of these coming with that also.
okay.
Gotcha.
So one of the things with, this is a helpful sheet right here, Alan, that you put together.
Yeah.
That shows our current balance.
Sit right down there.
One of the things that I would encourage you to do is put another column in here of the forecasted projects that you have coming up,
Okay.
and have it, and just sit there and do a deduct off of your existing balance, so we can sit there and do a running tally of your budget, all right?
Not a problem.
Emily, I assume we have a separate revenue account in KVS for Chapter 90 monies, right?
Correct, yes.
So you know, so Alan, you know for a fact that the Chapter 90 account has, in our system, has that number at 178,512.66. Good.
Okay. Sign presidential primary warrant.
All right. I move to sign the March 1st, 2016 presidential primary warrant, as long as we can take Trump off it. No, I didn't say that.
I think we can
Second.
all come up with names to take off. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna get myself in trouble.
See the headlines in the morning.
I don't have any more motions here, Mr. Meyer.
Was there anything to sign for that?
Oh, yeah, there must be, right? Yeah, right here. Got it right here. Yep. There you go. Oh, look at, we're right on the nose here, Brad.
We are, yeah.
Look at that.
7:26, running a little early.
That'll give us a minute to set up the projector and
So next, we have the meetings, the meeting with the Mendon boards and committees. And first on that separate piece is to discuss a GIS program.
It looks like they've already tested, huh?
Yeah, no, but Matt just got here, so we want to give him a chance and we get people
Yeah.
to come up to the table.
Yeah,
We have space.
Come up
By all means.
like we did last time.
Recap. why we're
Do you
here.
want to do that and just try to get everybody around the table, or do you want to just invite them up individually? or-
No, I think we should all come up again.
Just asking.
Everyone, we can all come up like we did last time.
You can direct me to things. I will.
I'm sorry, she was too.
That's about the limit of my technical skills.
It's okay. I'll let it go.
You don't know how to work Oliver?
I don't know how to work the projector and the computer.
Oh.
Oh, this is from, it's gonna work.
Don't you have a VGA connection on the back of that? So you don't need the dongle if you got a VGA connection.
Negative.
Take the white off.
Negative.
She doesn't have a, Rich, go.
It's gotta be one or the other of those. It's gotta be. Yeah, it's right there. No. Right here. Come on, open up the good eye. Okay. No, that's fine. I'm talking to her.
I'm gonna move.
Power.
Sorry. Here. Looks like the screws, no screws in there, so you just have to let it sit. Okay?
Power.
The green button on the back, on the back.
The other back.
Left hand.
Right
There you
there.
go.
Okay.
Yep.
Seems to be angled down.
Coming back.
Okay, so last time we met, we had talked about GIS mapping and how it could be helpful to a lot of different boards. So we have brought an expert in to discuss with us, some of the options we may have. So I will hand it over to Kim and our expert.
Oh, this is Matt Franz. He's from CMRPC. We figured we'd start with the very basics of showing what we currently have available for use and what CMRPC could add, and then he wants to know what your individual needs are, and we want to have a conversation about what we actually want to do with it here, so we can get a better sense of what we actually want to get into, whether we need to purchase an actual product that is multi-layered, or if we could just create them, sort of get a sense of really what you want to do with it, if anything, or find out what's even possible, what you want to do with it. So, go ahead, Matt.
It will come up soon or whatever.
Now you might have to hit.
Get an F.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that your computer, Kim?
She went downstairs real quick.
Same here, same.
I don't know.
I think it's clearly.
Was it working with yours earlier? Did we not plug it in, Diane?
Did it work with yours, Diane?
We only got this far.
Wow, let's see. Just need a plug in.
Comcast has no voice tonight.
All right.
I called Dick, spoke to Dick, and I did call, but he gave a number. From Verizon president.
Is that your computer?
Yes.
Have you ever? I'm not sure.
Well, any computer could bring it up. So we had another laptop available.
We could try that. Because you got the dongle there. Do you got a memory stick?
No, you need
It's on the web.
Oh, it's on the web, so any can.
Yeah.
Oh, so you just need web access.
Yeah.
Mark, how about yours?
I don't know if I have the.
Probably have a dongle right
Probably
there.
in that same
That,
dongle.
is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
That's not it. No, you don't have it? Nope, he does not. So the only option we've got is Diane's, that dongle right there.
For a laptop that has an old school,
But, well, there's the Mac, it has the Mac connected too.
You get the Mac
my
connected.
laptop.
If anybody can figure
Let
out,
me see.
Dan can.
Anything for this?
Excuse me.
Dan, try this. This should work fine here.
I was gonna, there we go.
I was doing this, it was doing that before.
It's having an issue.
Oh, did we change the resolution on this?
Oh, geez, what did you do?
Nothing.
I don't think Dan should be in parks. I think he should be in charge of IT.
But we can in-house IT services.
Dan the man, you did it
I
again.
won't ding you for the 5 minutes.
I knew darn right well, the minute he touched that, it was gonna work.
We should in-house IT services. Yes.
Power surge cupboard.
So, when you get into,
There you go.
when you get into GIS, you know, there's a lot of different aspects to it. And you can say, you know, we want to start using GIS and everything. You know, the next question kind of is, what do you want to use it for? Because, you know, you could be talking about desktop applications, mobile applications, the web. And right now, there are a couple options that the town has already. What you're looking at right now is called MuniMapper. It's based off of Oliver. It's a service that MassGIS, which is the state's GIS office, put together for any town basically that didn't have a web application right now. It's something they did for free. They just modified the Oliver application, which is another online web piece that they have that's also for free, and just basically made it focus in on the community. So when you bring it up and everything, it comes up on the town. You know, and it says Mendon, Mass, and everything.
Matt, just a quick question,
Yeah.
if I might. I just want to clarify something.
Sure, go ahead.
So if, it sounds to me like since you're on the web and everything, that what we'd be purchasing or paying for would be an online service subscription. We wouldn't have local software. We'd be running something off the web. Is that it?
If you did a web application, there's actually no cost to this. This is a free service through the state.
Okay,
That
but
they
if
put together.
if we wanted additional features, capabilities, which I'm sure you're going to tell us about.
There are a number of vendors out there that make their own online web applications, and you can get additional, they're a little bit more slicker than this, but, at no cost to the community, this is a good option if you are just starting off and you just, you don't want to fork a lot of money into, getting something going, everything, and you're not sure how you're going to use it. But yeah, you can get other features with, vendor ones, base maps and stuff. This one has quite a bit already. It's got a number of data layers in it. Right now you're not seeing much, but the closer in you get, once you hit a certain spot, property parcels will actually show up. You just gotta wait for everything to draw. There you go. So you can see this is what's called the level 3 property parcels. It was originally developed through MassGIS. As part of an E911 project, they went through and basically digitized, or paid to have parcels digitized for all the communities that didn't necessarily have them right away. So this is the work that they did. There's actually another state-funded project going on for enhancing them, which communities. This is actually the second round. There was a first round, and in this round, you guys actually have submitted a request in for that. Right now, the state's going to be getting bids from vendors and RPAs probably this week, next week, and then I think they have a pretty quick turnaround in terms of how quickly they want to get to going. So then they'll make their decision on which communities got funding this fiscal round. It does seem like there might be some additional funding next fiscal year, so any community that doesn't get in this one might get covered under the next one. Basically what that funding is doing is paying for your assessor maps, which are just digital version right now, to be converted over to, just a paper version, I'm sorry, converted over to a digital version, basically replicated in a GIS system, which you could then use to update the parcels and the assessor maps and everything. And that updated parcel data can then be shipped off to MassGIS, which then causes this to get updated in terms of parcel information.
So I hate to say this, but I'm still confused.
Yeah.
I could have sworn that the conversation we had when we had our first meeting on this related to something we had to buy that we didn't have access to already. Isn't that, Gene, what you
I applied for the grant to enhance this, so I could use it as my mapping system.
To enhance, oh, okay, so, I got you.
So what are the enhancements, Gene? Just to refresh our memories.
Well, that one boundary designations, lot numbers, numbers, things like that. It would be more in line with what I've got now as far as all parcel identification factors. Right?
Yeah, everything that you see on the paper maps would be converted over to a digital data layer.
Right, easements would show up, right?
So
Yeah, I mean, if you have it on the map right now, it'd be brought over.
Some wetlands.
Yeah, and once you have something in the GIS system, it's pretty easy to then add additional layers. Like, so the assessor maps, you could turn on, okay, I want to see the zoning on here now, or maybe I want to see the floodplain data.
That would be different layers.
So it's gonna cost us money to get the gazinta, not the Kamzada, right? So we can see this. We can see this when we
If we
want.
get the grant, we could get those wonderful enhancements, and then if you want to add layers to it, like a layer, which zoning layer would be fantastic. If we had the zoning layer, something to lay over it to show where the zoning occurs and what kind of zoning it is. Someone in here had mentioned water lines, but I don't know if that's something that.
Nothing that the state
That
has.
the
If you
state would
got,
do.
if you have something that's
But if
in
we had something, we
digital,
could get it through a company digital that way. And there's
yeah,
so
and
many,
bring it
you know,
into a library.
Any kind of overlay district you have, you could get layers.
So Gina, those enhancements, are they à la carte, or is it just you buy one big software package and you just plug it right in on top of this?
It's actually no software package. What her thing is just creating data.
Yeah, the
and-
work effort to get it in there.
Yeah, it's basically like taking a paper assessor map and
I
turning
see
that
what you're
all
saying.
into a
So
digital.
it's still free, it's just the cycles that it takes to put it
It's a
in.
free to get it out.
If we get the
Kim
grant,
has more.
that's free right
Kim?
now.
You had something?
There were really two options. So so we're just trying to clarify. There are private software packages, like Matt was saying earlier, that are sort of, what would you say, slicker? They're
Yeah.
fancier, more, that you can pay for. One of them that's been talked
For
about.
viewing.
Yes, it's called PeopleSoft GIS, and they also do the data input for you. I believe the planning board has actually considered that application in the past, and there is a price involved with that. This is a different, provides the same service, maybe not as many bells and whistles. This is based already through the state. CMRPC could do some of the additional data layers. Maybe we don't need a Cadillac, we only need this. And so Matt is here to get us started on the process to see if we need to end up at the top piece of it. This is things that are already available.
Okay, but if let's say some other town, let's say Upton, let's say somebody already put in all that information, put in all those layers, then everybody that works in the town of Upton that might need that has access to it for free, it sounds like. The access part's free.
As long as you
It's
have.
just how it gets in there.
Yeah.
You need professional services to get it in there, it sounds like.
In the look of it, the ease of access on the site.
Yeah, I mean, the key points is the development of data and then some type of software in order to view that data, whether it's a web application or desktop software. You know, if you're looking at desktop software, there's costs associated with that unless you go with one. There's a couple free versions out there. But generally, the majority one is called ArcMap, and it's through a company called ESRI. They're kind of like the Microsoft of GIS in a way, a monopoly. But that's, you know, if you desktop, you really don't need right away unless you're starting to want to get in and manipulate the data more, sort of create custom layout maps, run analysis. If you're just looking for something where you can go in and view the data, pull up some just simple attribute information, by attribute that's the data that's behind, like in this case the parcels. So you can come in here and you can look at.
And this can also be connected to my software, correct? So if you're in a property record card and you go to the GIS tag, you could bring up the GIS parcel, correct?
There are ways
Yeah.
to do it. I mean, you can tag, you can attach, you can do a CAMA extract from your system and connect that in with the parcels and have that display. They actually have that on here. Let's see, where is my... This is going to have my information. So right now, what I did was just use the identify button to click on a parcel. And this is the parcel that's selected, and down here it's showing me the attribute information associated with that parcel. And there's kind of two parts to this. There's sort of this first stuff I'm looking at is the information that's tied into the parcel itself, which not really a lot. I mean, anything has to deal with the parcel ID and everything. But once you get beyond that, they've gone ahead and they've attached the CAMA extract to that parcel. So now you're starting
What
to...
extract?
CAMA, it's just short for the computer or system, the assessing system. So this is an extract of that. So you've got your building values, your land value. They have a core set of attributes that they want for this type of level data. Fiscal year, sale price. And this is just a subset. You know, once you have a GIS, you can take and, you know, if it's a database and it's related to parcels, you can export out, you know, whatever fields you want and connect it in. Oops.
So Matt, as we grow, or Gene, as we grow, what is the process of having this updated? Because
Go ahead.
It's not actually that fairly, you mean in terms of the property parcel,
so
like
we
the
have,
assessors?
so let's just say that we're doing a subdivision right now. So there's a
Yep.
piece right now, there's a state piece of this software where they're actually putting in the physical parcels and stuff. So I'm just trying to think of the flow of information.
Yep, no,
We've accepted a subdivision, Jean's doing her job. You know, that information has to be sent to somebody so it gets updated in the GIS. And then we have to add on top of
Hey, vendor.
that, the layers that Jean's talking about the enhancements that Gene's talking about are getting them put in there. So it seems like a pretty big process. I'm just trying to understand the flow of how that goes.
The enhancement project's pretty big. That part, yeah, that's a good-sized project. Once you get beyond that, what you're just talking about is just the normal yearly updates or bi-yearly, however frequently they do their assessor map updates. The way it works, we do a number of towns' assessor maps, and the way it works with us is the assessor sends us usually a list of all their changes, whether it's splits or text changes, maybe the plans, or otherwise we just download them from the registry. We go in, we take those, and we use coordinate geometry to put in the parcels, add any dimension text that need to be put in, any other text, whether it's a street name or anything. That all gets updated in the parcel, in the GIS system, and then using that data and the project file we have, we can then make updated versions of the individual assessor maps. And then print those out, make PDFs of them, give them to the community. And then if the community wants us to, we can take that updated data, give it to MassGIS for their website, and also if they're using a Muni Mapper to get it update. So the updating process, is not much different than probably what she'd be doing before, just a different company. You just need somebody that can update the information using GIS. And then in terms of the other data layers, there's a lot out there that MassGIS already has, like wetlands, building structures, orthophotos, roads, public buildings. There's
Custom layers?
I'm sorry?
Custom layers?
Custom layers?
We have custom layers, like?
Yeah.
So, for example, we create a historic district in Mendon, and we can tell it, okay, this is the district, and then if it changes a year down the line, we can expand it or whatever?
Yeah, in terms of just like developing them, or like on like the Muni Map reviewer, or?
Yeah, just, from what I'm understanding, the idea is you can get on here and look at any layer, any aspect or attribute of the area, the town that you might be looking at. So you can say, well, I want to look at all the wetlands, and presumably there's a layer that shows you what all that is, right?
Yeah, there's a wetlands data layer. Yeah.
So if you had a historic preservation layer, you could see, okay, show me what part of the town that, overlay part of the town that is, and if it changes, you have the ability to change it, right?
Not through this software?
No, I understand.
But yeah.
I understand, that's what we have to pay people for, but.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where it gets kind of a little complicated, I guess, what you asked, because when you're talking about different layers and viewing it, and that's why I asked, are you talking about Muni Mapper, or are you talking about data? Because you can be talking about like developing the data or displaying the data. Yeah, with the Muni Mapper piece, you actually have the ability to add in data layer that you might have that the state doesn't have.
Right.
What would normally happen is if you do have stuff, there would be another folder up here called like town data or something, and you just would go to it and open it up, and there'd be other layers up there.
Okay, cool.
I can give you an example. There's one on there.
What you're doing now, can anybody do this online?
Oh yeah, it's just a Google search. Just type in Muni Mapper in the town
No,
name.
I understand, but once you get into it, though, everything you're gonna see when you drill down it, I can do that at all?
Yeah, there's no locks or anything on this stuff, so. So right here, you can see they have Berlin local data, and under it, they have they have catch basins, manholes, and things, something there.
Use this as our base.
Right. And they'll display it for free, but we gotta pay to get
We're
it.
gonna get all the information, yeah.
Right.
Kim?
Matt, I have a question.
Yes.
So we just got done doing a pavement and road quality survey that I believe comes with the GIS layer. Do we need something more sophisticated than this in order to incorporate a layer like that, or could we incorporate a layer like that with this type of program?
You'd have to look to see, to bring it into this program itself, you want to look to see what format the data's in, because there's different file formats out there. And then if the file format is either what's called a shapefile or a file geodatabase or personal geodatabase, then MassGIS can work with that. And then the next thing would be to see, is there a symbology layer file with it? because otherwise, when you open up a data layer in the GIS, by default, it's just gonna, if it's a point layer or a line layer, it's just gonna show the lines all as one color. It doesn't make any difference. So we're
layer, not interactive.
well, it's still interactive, but it doesn't like zoning. If you open it up, you just see like different polygons, but each of those polygons have a different zoning designation. So a layer file tells it, hey, color RR yellow, color it this. So it's being more visually appealing when you're looking at it. So you'd want to have that so you could have like this different types of whatever the thing was, sidewalks or.
Well, if Alan or I sent you a copy of that file, right, we got an electronic version. When we get it, I'd like, because that's a good barometer of what we need or we think we need access to with the system. And I'd love to be able to, we know what it looks like in full capacity because we just did a presentation of it last week. I'd love to see if that can actually be incorporated into this and if it does give all those dimensions to it. It's just a flat surface layer.
Yeah, we can take a look at it when you get it and see what's.
Kimberly, what are you getting at? Are you saying that it would be nice to be able to have?
Lines we're dealing with,
Okay.
So are you saying it would be nice to be able to have the grade of each road as a layer on this?
Absolutely.
Is that what you're saying?
I'd like to be able to take.
Okay, so who cares how you get it in there? The bottom line is based upon what he said, we can do it.
It might not be capable to the dimensions that we just saw the other day when we had that presentation. It might.
All it was a number between 0 and 100.
Yes.
So say we have that layer already set and we could get it into this system. Is there an annual cost to having that, in there, or is it once we get the data set and the file, set up and in there, then that's it, it's in there?
Well, not with the Mass GIS thing right now. As far as I know, it's free. Doing updates is free. You can send in frequent updates. If you're sending something in like every week or something, they're gonna probably be like, oh, let's slow down a little. But if you're sending something like once a month or anything like that,
Yeah, it probably wouldn't even be.
they're not gonna have an issue or anything. I mean, the whole point of them creating this was to try to encourage communities to start using the data.
Right.
Because then you'll be like, well, if we're using, like, especially like the parcel data, if you're using it and you're seeing like, oh, this is great, but it's not up to date. Oh, okay, well, let's go ahead and, pay for the GIS to get the parcels up to date, or let's get these other layers. So, just a tool for you to start using it, basically.
Matt, I really apologize. I'm just slow catching up on this. What I'm hearing two things. I'm hearing the free aspect of it and getting it updated that way, which I'm trying to figure out whose responsibility it would be to be sending those updates in to get it updated. And then I heard enhancements. And what I'm trying to flush out is there going to be an ongoing annual expense to this? Because obviously we want the integrity of our data up to date. So that's all I'm trying to flush out. So I'm trying to figure out the process and all the moving pieces.
Yeah.
Because we're jumping a little bit. We're getting free,
yeah.
and then this is the enhancement, and we're getting free,
Yeah.
and this is the enhancement. So I'm just trying to figure out, getting set up, what the initial cost is with what Gene wants to do, and then the process of that. And I know there's steps of us determining what we want to have on the GIS, which could be part of this meeting or.
And if we get the grant.
And if we get the grant. And then the other piece is the ongoing maintenance of it and who's responsible of that. Is that Gene's office or the assessor's office? Who's responsible for doing that? Is it sending in the information to Mass GIS and they automatically update it for us? Or do we have to pay another expense or hire a consultant to be able to do that? That's what I'm trying to flesh out. So can you help me with that?
Yeah, sure. So normally, once the enhancement piece is all done and the assessor maps are now in a GIS system, you'd be getting another vendor who can work with that program and basically just do your annual
And that
updates.
would be me.
So you would be doing the physical updates at that point?
To
Gene?
the parcels, as far as your layers, I'm not really involved in the various layers.
Yeah, no, she'd be sending off the information to a vendor who's gonna update your parcels and your dimension information, give you back your assessor maps, and they can give you your GIS data at that time too. And then in terms of getting it to Mass GIS, either you can have the vendor do it, because it's not a huge burden, really, or, you know, you can send that, forward the files off to Mass GIS. There's that. So the annual maintenance is just what you would normally pay to have your assessor maps updated in terms of the parcel piece.
Annual maintenance paid to whom?
Whatever vendor you select to update your assessor maps.
So Gene, the quote that you've gotten, or quotes, include the initial professional services and then plus
I
the,
haven't gotten any quotes.
okay, but what you were looking to get though, to research, would have provided for initial update plus then the ongoing?
No, probably the grant just covers the initial, right?
Yeah, the grant covers the conversion of your paper stuff into a digital.
Okay, so it didn't include any of the enhancements that you were talking about then? I
No,
just
not
heard two
enhancements,
things.
Updates.
Just
The
updates.
well, to me, the enhancements are what's already on our maps, right?
Yeah, they call it
You know,
enhancements,
Like
just,
right now, you
Okay,
just see
maybe
a
it's just
square.
a
I want
verbiage.
sizes, I want acreage, I want parcel number, I want lot
Okay.
number, it's a lot of definitions.
It's just, so the enhancements to me is that we're adding on to something. All right, so
Adding
that's,
on
so it's
to that,
verbiage.
but you know,
Don't confuse that with the layers.
Right.
Layers are something else.
So, okay,
Well, I understand
you know what, let me do something here. I just want to summarize in a simpler way what I think is the and tell me if I go wrong. And if I'm off a little bit, don't bother. If I'm off a lot, then bother to interrupt me, okay? It sounds to me like you got this application, this big thing running that the state's put together. They would love us to add stuff to it because it enhances their database, right? And they do some amount of stuff themselves because they have access to the data. But when it comes to the stuff, if we just take the example of the assessors maps, that's a layer that already exists because everybody, probably a lot of other towns using it. It probably already exists, but we got to get the data into it, and that's what you wanted to get the grant for, right? To get our data in there, right?
Okay.
Now, when it comes, we could create custom layers, but zoning might use it differently and want to put wetlands overlay or whatever it is, and maybe Ann puts something else for what she does in CPC, and maybe the layer exists or it doesn't exist, and if it doesn't, we got to create it, but it's going to cost us money to get it created and get it populated.
Good.
But once it's populated, am I basically right here so far? Once it's populated, if it changes and we don't update it, well, then you get stale data,
right.
right? So you hope like hell, if you're gonna bother to do it in the first place, you're gonna keep it up, which means we gotta pay somebody at least a little bit on an ongoing basis to keep it up to
Which we
date.
already do. We pay a vendor right now to update our paper maps annually.
Okay, but if he updates the paper maps, then how would it get, I mean, if that's what we're paying him for,
Well,
then
we
how?
would no longer use the vendor, I'm sure, that we have now doing the paper maps, and we would go to
And
a
change it
vendor
over
who
to
would
them.
do this GIS, and
Got
instead
it.
of me sending it to them, I'd send it to them, right?
And then we would print off for the paper maps that we would then,
Well, I think we
And
can-
you want to add your layers on, that would be additional.
Got it, totally. got it.
okay.
Is that? I think
Yeah, no,
that's-
you're clear, that's clear.
Okay,
Yep,
cool.
that was clear.
Ann has been waiting with
Yeah,
a question.
She keeps doing the hand up, yeah.
Yeah, I have a question. On the mini mapper, can you create a map and then print it, like zero in on a parcel and put layers on it, like wetlands, and then print it?
Yep, yeah, so I just added the wetlands layer onto this map. And then, let's see, where is there?
When you say you added it, you mean you just added it to
Just
ours?
turned on the layers.
See the
Yeah,
green on the left
I just
side?
turned it, let me,
Just turn the layer on.
can remove it. So it's off. And if I click on it, now I've added, you can
Yep.
see this stuff popped up over on here.
So some wetland stuff is already populated?
The state has a wetlands layer. There's a, let me, I'll go there real quick, you
Yeah,
can
the
see
DEP
this.
would do that. I checked all boxes.
So it seems to me that it'd be
vendors
worthwhile for probably
basically
everybody here.
talk
To
to
kind of
different
go home,
assessors,
connect to
figure
this,
out
play with it a
what
little bit, see what's on there.
work would be
right,
involved, and
understand
then
what
they're
they're
gonna
looking at.
generate a cost estimate.
Because there are-
They think the work is.
Yeah.
Well, there is a lot on there already.
I've
So I
never
think
been on
it's, yeah, I think it's important to look at what's on there, and then everyone can say, oh, well, it'd be nice if I had, this committee had this layer, and then
Yeah.
you look into that part of it. But I think this is a good starting
Yes,
base, instead
absolutely.
of starting completely new and paying a lot of money.
Well, I'm curious too to see what the other needs are of the other groups.
Yes.
And in theory, to know again, sorry, Linda, if this is enough or if we need something that's bigger. Because the recommendation from planning was a different, larger application, and so I want to make sure before we assume we can add a layer that's, I don't know, public safety related, that we can actually do that here.
And-
It sounds like the one somewhat limitation here is that everything here is completely 100% public. So if you're putting, your secret whatever, anybody can look that up and see it. So I think that's really under consideration.
What secret?
Not that
It's town government, nothing should be secret.
Well, but if you're,
Oh, yeah, there is.
if you're listing, locations of certain, I know like they don't let you know where all some of the wells are, because it's just something to keep in mind, depending on what types of information we want.
Is that something you've heard before?
There's, when they first started this, they did have the offer to send a password protected version out. I've never seen one because nobody's that I've worked with has asked for one, but supposedly it was out there when they first did it, and I don't know like how strong or anything it is, but we could ask about that. That's something that you're
Well,
interested
it
in.
is
Depends how
interesting.
bad they wanna get it. They'll get a hacker that'll get right in there.
I'm thinking more like public safety
what
to
you-
use it.
I'm thinking more about the Board of Health too. I had a conversation earlier today with Missy about, could you use it for tracking sort of Title V compliance and location, and I wonder if that's information that we want to be just having out for everybody. I don't see the harm, but maybe,
Yeah, so I would think a next good step would be for people that think for 1 second that this could be potentially useful, to kind of get in there, bop around if they haven't already, understand what's there already, get some ideas on how it might be useful, and then jot down what some requirements might be for each group that would use it. I mean, it's obviously easier for the assessors because it's kind of a big thing that a lot of the assessors use, so it's, you're not making up new stuff, kind of, a lot of people are doing it already.
Right, and I want to interact with my program, like I was saying before, so if someone goes into a property record card, then they hit on the GIS tab, which I already have on my software, that it would bring up then a lot of
Do you have, you have a GIS tab on your software, but you may have to pay to get an extension fees for it. So you should check into
And
that.
that would be my vendor?
Yeah, through your
Oh,
CAMA
awesome.
vendor. So,
Yeah. I was having PDFs made of the maps that I have now, and you're just gonna put them up there for free.
oh, just PDFs you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, once you start using GIS, it's pretty easy to make PDFs
yeah.
through that. But
Actually,
some of
it's
the,
probably Dan was gonna put them on the website anyway, so.
What towns do you know where the assessors are using GIS?
Oh, many.
yeah, there's a number of different, Charlton uses it, both the desktop and they have an add-on to their CAMA software. Paxton uses it. Millbury has it. I don't know how frequently they use it, but they do have an online one they use. Yeah, so there are a number of assessors out there who have it. Yeah, and then when you turn thinking of like what you want to do, if it also think about like what layers, what information do you want to see, because it may not, is it, you want to look to see if it's out there, or do we need to think, or you need to think about creating it and how much effort might be involved to create it, like water lines, sewer lines, or
Right.
stormwater, or updated structures, or whatever it might be, But there are a number of different layers. I just brought up the MassGIS page here, just to show you quickly. This is their data layer page. You can go on here and you can see basically the metadata, or the information behind the data, and where you can come in here and download as well when you have a desktop version.
So are you saying you can download the data that's driving the layer?
You can download any of the Mass GIS data layers, yeah.
Okay.
And if you have a desktop application, you can open it up and
You're right.
start viewing the stuff, yeah. So, you know, they have quite a large library and number of orthophotos, aerial imagery and stuff like that.
So Matt, you're saying these are all layers that are in use somewhere already?
They're in what?
You're saying these are all layers that are in use somewhere in GIS and in at least one municipality?
Probably. There's, probably a good number of these are in a lot of municipalities that have GIS. I mean, land use, surface geology, there's the soils, prime forest lands, just the aerial photography, towns are gonna be using it. If you get into...
Those are all accessible to us.
Yeah, you can start using that. The Muni Mapper has a bunch of them. They don't, for whatever reason, they didn't put all of them on there, but if you go into original program that was Oliver, that was their original online program, and where Muni Mapper is built off of, that has access to pretty much every data layer that they have, including the parcels. The information. The other piece that the Unimapper has is you can actually do a butters list off of this. Granted, the information is only going to be as current as however frequently you give it to them, but you can create a list and export it off to Excel or text file. So I come in here and tell it. Yes. And then it just, these are all the selected ones within 300 feet of that one.
So there's way more existing functionality than I thought we already had access to. I did not know we had access to so much.
Yeah, there's a lot of information out there,
Basic information.
just on there. So this is the Oliver. You can,
The creation of layers is just as how creative you want to be.
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah, and how you want to use it,
Right.
and what data's out there, and how frequently the data gets updated, how you're going to update the data.
Right.
You know, the longer that you wait on the data, obviously, the more expensive it's going to get down
Yeah, right.
the long run. If you keep it up to date on a yearly basis or whatever, then it's generally going to be lighter cost.
Right.
And, you know, the parcels, one other thing you can do when you get into that piece is you can look at, and I can't remember if we talked about this, but digital submissions of surveys. They, you know, most of the times they're collecting this stuff. They have a GPS. They can collect the CAD data and attach a coordinate system to it. So then when you get it, you can bring it into the GIS. It should then drop into place. It doesn't have to be moved around or anything. So then, you know, if you get, the nice thing about that is when you have a desktop is you can pop it open and look, you know, even before the planning process gets very far, and look, okay, well, is it falling into place? Does it look funny? Are there any issues with it? And then when it comes to parcel updating, you can use that CAD file, and it makes things actually a little bit easier and a little cheaper to do as well. So there's a couple, Millbury has a submission bylaw. They ask for the digital file on a CD when people submit their plans. So,
Where did they get the original information?
which information?
What you already have.
That you already had, you're showing all the parcels from like the town of Mendon. Where did they get that information from?
So a number of years ago, the Mass GIS, the state agency, did a statewide project where they went through and digitized all communities' parcels that didn't have a digital file already. So they basically got a copy of the assessor maps. So that particular year they did it and had a vendor digitize those lots in, put in the map file.
So that is only as accurate as the assessor's map that they did work on?
Yeah, these ones, I can't remember, let's see, has the date, so 2011. But when the enhancement goes through, that will bring it up.
Right.
If it goes through, it will bring it up current to 2015 or 2016.
So this is, you know, like anything, that is only as good as the information it has to work off of. That is
Yeah.
not
Yeah, but once you get it in, you know, it's the enhancement piece that goes through and everything, then you'll have it in GIS, and then you'll be, you know, and if you're having a vendor do it annually, you're gonna have current parcel data. And the CAMA stuff, you know, that's, usually it's a once a year thing, but there's nothing to say that you can't export out a CAMA extract every 3 months, 2 months, whatever, and run it through the quality control thing and ship it off to Mass GIS.
Yeah, so then, if I wanted a layer from, I'm Alan, I run the highway department. So if I wanted a layer on there, say, I've got all my stormwater already all mapped and all of that, so that's all set. But say I wanted to have all my signs.
Yep.
So I would just go out and either hire somebody to, you know, locate them, and then you just add that on the layer.
Yep, yeah, you just get the data from them and then, you know, send it off to Mass GIS and just, can you add this to our Unimap reviewer?
So what I think we should do is, the board can do is we'll send out the link to the, as it is now, so people can review it, see what's available. And then what we'll want to do, instead of everyone going off on their own to, you know, bring in a vendor, we'll try to get everyone that wants to have a certain layover together. We'll compile what everyone would like, and we'll find a vendor together to do this project. So
The grant, we may not have a choice with that, right? Because you
Well,
pick the vendor, right, at that point? If we
The
get
state will
grant.
pick, for the enhancement stuff, the state will select the vendor based
Yeah,
on prices and stuff like that.
right. So I was saying about our other stuff that, you know, individually what our committees would like to have as
Yeah.
a different layer.
If the grant requires us to separate it into two projects, that's okay, but what I'd hate to see us do is do piecemeal, one department at a time, not work in unison, and then have, and then pay more
Right.
for less, instead of have one project where we have a bunch of requirements that satisfy a bunch of departments and give us more bang for the buck. I think that's what I'm looking at. If we gotta do the grant thing separate, then fine, it's two projects.
I mean, I'd like to, see if that comes through.
Yeah.
But
Kim?
the rest of the stuff winds up overlapping.
Last year I didn't
Right.
get it.
Which is, again, why
I
we
think
want
there's a good
to work
chance
together.
that
I
will
think
go
so.
through.
Yeah.
You're right.
Especially me, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Either this fiscal year or next fiscal year.
Kim, you had something?
I was just gonna say, it might be helpful for the boards and commissions who aren't familiar with this to really just go back and Google what their function is. Let's say it's Board of Health or Senior Center or whatever, and then GIS, and see what comes up. They may not even know what
What
types
other
of-
people do.
Right, what types of layers there are. That's how we get started, and then take a look and see if there's something that makes sense, and then we'll try to make that work.
Well, so I'd like to see, if you could send us that URL that showed all of those layers you looked through, then that would give somebody the ability to flip through
Yeah.
those too, right?
It was just Mass GIS,
Yeah, I understand, but,
Mass GIS,
You know,
what's that?
Mass GIS data layers.
Yeah,
Is that what it was?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but then, for those who've never used it, you Google Minimap,
Unimap.
Mapper, and they're all gonna come up, all the different towns that you just showed us.
Yeah.
So just pick various towns that you wanna go through. You go on to all of them, all of it is basic, but a lot of the stuff is there. And in relation to Alan's question, I've been using Oliver for a while now, and I found it quite accurate, really accurate. So, unless you found a real glaring error, you know, the information that you're looking for is great stuff.
Yeah, it's just the parcels is what he was talking about, because that hasn't been updated since it was originally done,
Right,
so the
yeah.
parcels and the CAMA information are a bit out of
we
date
have 4
from when
years
they
of
were done, but
changes
the other
going on.
data's on there. Can be more up to date. It really depends on the data layer
Do you
that
find
you're
you
looking
have
at.
issues when you go from one town to another in accuracy on the town lines?
There shouldn't be, because as part of the level 3 stuff, the parcels are supposed to be fitted to the state parcel, or to the state boundary line, which was modified based on the stuff in the land survey book. So the XY coordinates from there that went out, it's not necessarily survey grade, but that was where the parcels are supposed to be. Not to say that you won't run into that still,
Yeah.
and if
Yeah.
something, there's definitely I've run into places where a survey has been done and it captured some kind of marker sitting in the road which caused it to go out
Yeah, I
further,
think
but,
that's the one case I had,
yeah. And usually when you get into that, you have to start looking at like
All right,
boundary
so
parts.
what we'll do is, what I just said, we'll send out that link and everyone can go online and take a look at the different options, and we'll get together at another meeting in the future and talk about that. So, thank you, Matt. Does anyone else have any quick questions, or?
What's the time frame on the award information, do you know?
I believe they're gonna make their decisions this month. This fiscal year stuff has to be done by June, so it's not a whole lot of
Yeah, right.
time, so, and I think, at least for us, the RPAs, we have to have our submittal in by, Wednesday, I think, Wednesday or Friday. So, and the private vendors are gonna do the same.
All right, very good. Thanks, Matt, for coming in.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
it.
me. If you have any questions or whatever, feel free to email or call me at our office.
Great,
Fantastic,
thank you so much.
Alright.
Can we get some light back?
Interesting.
24 minutes. You can see what it looks like.
Well, you know what it is, it's even AutoCAD user. I use AutoCAD. So, yeah, but what it is that, when it comes to the layering and everything, that's my world. That's, I really understand all that. That's cool. Yeah. Enhancements, I was looking at it completely backwards. I was looking at it as like a plug-in. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, that's how I was looking at it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
same
so
thing.
you
It was the same way.
yeah, you certainly clarified that for me.
So I just wanted to.
So I appreciate that, Richard.
All right, so there was a couple other things we wanted to address.
Don't make him bang that gavel.
Oh, no, I got my...
Mrs. Schofield, are we gonna have to separate you?
So, we wanted to announce the new town email addresses in the mail server. Has everyone been able to access their emails that they had? Because things have changed over. Okay. Diane, was there anything else you wanted to mention about that?
What email changeover?
Okay.
Yeah, with the town, World Band moved us off the kind of, excuse the technical term, crap server that we had to a real Exchange server that works a whole lot better. So that required some changes on your phone if you're using that, plus your desktop application Outlook if you're using that.
Works awesome if you get a computer that doesn't
And each
have...
person, like, he should have his own email.
Yeah, every volunteer should have their own email address now. We shouldn't be using personal email addresses
Right.
to
So
conduct.
Has that been announced?
That's what we're doing now.
Oh,
So
What's up, Kenny?
I have instructions if you haven't been contacted yet on how to do it. And there are also group email addresses. So for instance, a committee has, like historical committee has their own email address, and then everybody who's on that committee is part of that group email. So if, for instance, on the website, that address is listed, everybody that is part of that committee also gets an email. So when you respond to that group email address, it shows that it's coming from your town email address as opposed to your personal one.
Dan?
So so the intent is that every single person should have a @mendon.gov.
That's right, yep.
And so who should people contact if they have a question? Because I think there's still,
They should contact the Board of Selectmen's office.
So is that on the website now,
Is what on the website?
the instructions?
No, I have the instructions. I have some I can pass out if you don't already
I
have
think I
it.
saw an email that got forwarded, like, there was like some PDF with like how to log in.
Right.
Is that something you could send out so we could then forward?
Well, see, the problem is, if I send it out to the new email address and you don't know how to access your mail,
Send it to me, I can send it to Tom and AJ,
yes.
and then I can forward it to them.
Yes.
Because they have my mail.
Yep.
And you really want to be using the town email address, because if you don't, then archiving requirements, legal requirements are on you. And if somebody does a public records request, you have to be able to access your previous email using whatever search criteria the request came in through. It's a big hassle, right? This way here, the town's on the hook for it, and World Band can do the search on the data store, and you don't have to worry about it.
Right.
And the other thing, I think previously, a lot of people had signed up to get alerts and notices from like, for instance, anytime an agenda goes out from maybe the FinCom or from Board of Selectmen, people with their personal email address had signed up. So you can sign up again using your town website address if you choose to do that.
So should all my board members at the Council on Aging be receiving a new?
Yep.
Yeah, additional email addresses cost us nothing.
Right. So the format is the first initial of your first name and then your last name at mendonma.gov.
Okay. And a reminder that next week, the 11th, is the deadline for the warrants, so, the articles on the warrant. So if there's anything that comes up between now and then, we'll,
Special, right?
special town meeting, yep. So keep that in mind. Anything else?
Maybe the group.
Does anyone have anything they wanted to bring up to the group?
Somebody must have
Oh,
something.
one
Diane
more
has
thing.
something.
Just the annual town report submittals from all the boards and committees were due last month. So if you haven't done yours yet, please get them into the office.
Yes, that's important.
Begin before annual.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, absolutely.
we'll meet again before the annual town meeting deadline for the warrant, right?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a recommendation. I think that it would be helpful when we conduct these meetings that we just pick a couple of the various boards or committees, just give us a status update, let us know how things are going. So we're not always picking the agenda. We can, it'd be nice to be able to hear somebody just, say, hey, this is what we're doing, we're moving, we're progressing. A lot of times we have our thumb on the pulse, but not everybody else does, so I think that'd be helpful.
Sure. Linda?
If I can just give a little update on the taxation aid committee.
Sure. You want to come up and just...
Yep.
One of the things that we're going to be voting on at the March meeting is to actually establish the fund that the Taxation Aid Committee will be hopefully using to distribute next year. The committee has met a couple of times. I can tell we're going to be working closely with both the senior center and the assessor's office, and the committee as a whole, to make sure that the word gets out and people are aware that there are options if they need some relief. We haven't yet established income guidelines or any guidelines. We're working on that. We need to get the fund set up first. But just to let you know, we're working on that, and looking forward to being able to do something constructive next year.
Very good.
So, just a quick question on that. So, I know part of the approach was just to see what all the various options are to help people with taxes and what have you. And one thing that the group was supposed to do was confirm that they did indeed agree after the research that this particular piece of this specific taxation fund was going to be something that you'd want to recommend. Is that the way the committee's leaning at the moment, that it does look like it's worth doing and we should do?
It definitely, from the research that we've done so far, and right now we're researching more intensively different towns. Many towns have these funds. They're well used in many towns. How well it will be used in Mendon is yet to be seen. and it all depends upon how much money we can get into the fund. This is in addition to all of the exemptions and abatements that are available that the assessors have been doing forever. But they're well-used in other towns. I don't see why we couldn't use them. But the first step is to get the fund established. There's really no sense in doing anything without the town first voting to establish the fund. But yes.
Okay.
I think it's going to be well worth it.
Yeah, cool. Yep,
And
thank
the
you.
assessor's office will be sponsoring and placing on the annual town meeting warrant and hopefully the ballot, the CPA exemption.
Got it.
Great.
Thank you.
It's another thing. So,
So when you mentioned early, there was the deadline for article on the warrant
That was
For the
Special.
STM.
special.
Yeah.
We
We're good.
requested it for the special, right?
we're all set.
Another thing I thought of, which I'm not sure about, is for this meeting, should we think about having a designee from each committee, as the board and commission cabinet designee, so that it's the same people coming to this, or do you think we should just let representatives come as, you decide?
I think as they see fit.
It's just something I thought of. I wasn't sure what people thought of that, so,
Were you concerned about continuity?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it really makes a difference. I mean, I think that everybody on the boards and commissions are pretty abreast of what's going on within their boards and committees, so, and, again, just to reiterate, I think that, similar as if we were doing goals and objectives, and we meet with our various departments, we would be expecting them to come in and present, so I just would make a recommendation that, at our next meeting, we just pick a couple of boards or a couple of committees and say, why don't you present, and, talk about what you're working on currently and what's important or what you feel is important for everybody else to hear. I think that's one of the main purposes of this meeting, is to make sure that everybody's up to speed on what everybody else is doing. And this is the venue for it, so, trying to inspire dialogue, right?
Well, I've been going out in the hallway and grabbing them as they come in to pay their taxes and dragging them into the office. I've done that for a couple of people.
Strong work.
Well, if I hear them complaining, I just walk and say, oh, actually, most of them qualify, so.
Good. Okay. Anything else? Yes,
Date for the next meeting?
we can set that. Dan, do you know the date for the annual town meeting deadline for the
We
article
haven't,
submission, or
we
we
haven't
haven't done
set it
that?
yet. I was hoping to set it when you sign the warrant for the
Yeah.
March one, just.
Okay. I think we'll probably base it off of the deadline for the annual town meeting article submissions. So we haven't set that yet, and once we do that, we will set the next meeting date. All right, I think we're done with this. Something?
Because those articles have to be in 7 weeks prior to.
Right, counting it now. But let's wait on it. We have
Yeah,
so
well-
many meetings coming up. We need to
Yeah.
really pick a day and schedule it.
Okay.
I'd like to see us at some point just set a certain day of the month. So people know.
Right. All right. Very good. Thank you. Yes.
So were you talking at this meeting or the annual meetings or the
Not
other
yet.
special?
Rich.
What?
How often do you have these meetings?
We're trying to have them quarterly, I think.
Yeah, we were talking about that last time,
Lining them up
about
with
basing
town
them off
meetings.
of the STM and the ATM.
They should all be outside.
Right.
Okay, all right, no problem.
So it's usually about 4 a year.
Okay, no problem.
Yes.
Just
everybody-
trying to fit it into the schedule, you know?
Right. Time flies, so
Round peg, round hole, square peg, square
His
hole.
own
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
there you go.
See ya.
Rich just had, we could have just ended the meeting.
I know.
You guys can motion to adjourn. Two of you.
Is that it? So we'll then went through all of our.
Clearly done.
Me to fix up.
Step down in second, all in favor? Aye.
Here, take.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
And then just give it back to me when the meeting's over.
I don't have my glasses.